Yeah.
Continue. There we go.
Hey, so welcome to Diana Baker to the Legacy Live podcast. And I'm so excited about this episode because I have literally just met Diana. I have just met her in a fabulous group that we're both part of in Edinburgh. And she's doing beautiful work with families, with photography. She is a mom and she's just had this amazing experience with her business. And I know that this podcast about legacy really resonates with her. So I'm so excited to have this chat and just be completely open to share this. This is the first time we've had a conversation, and we jumped on the phone really quickly and we're just vibing and just went, do you know what? Let's have this, our first conversation live for you all to enjoy and experience. So we're here doing it live, recording it. So welcome, Diana.
Thank you so much. I love it when life just works and it just clicks, and like you said, this is our first conversation, and if it was meant to be, it was meant to be, girl.
Absolutely. And I'm just buzzing already, and we've just been talking like literally about 5 minutes, and it's like, let's jump on.
Do it.
I was listening this morning to this piece called The Effortless Way, and Bob Proctor had shared it with me a couple of years ago. And you know what? It's about the law of least effort and taking the simple path, the simple route, allowing things, letting life be simple, letting it be easy and flow. And I just feel like that's what's just happening right here, and I love it.
And I love Bill Proctor. God, isn't he fantastic? But it is like getting out of your own way sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like you said, we've just had our first phone call. We were like, why don't we just jump on the phone and record this? Let's do our podcast. But if you get in your own way, mm-hmm. and be like, no, I've got to make this perfect. You miss the opportunity, and it can't, like, quite often that least resistance way, that letting life come to you, can, it sounds easy, but sometimes it's a little bit hard because we've got to get out of our own way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And jump off the cliff and make it up as we go along.
Yeah.
And just do it. Just say yes. Absolutely. Say yes. I love it.
And you know what? I could have gone, oh, well, I haven't got any makeup on, because just to let you know, and for full disclosure, Diana, I also put my podcast, I record it so that people can see us as well. I pop it on YouTube as well. So bags and all, do you know what?
Bags
no makeup. Do you know?
Life ain't perfect, neither are we. And I'm fine with that.
Absolutely. And that's part of accepting ourselves the way we are, really embracing ourselves, the way we are, the way we look, the way life is, with our mess, physical mess, mental mess, all the rest of the mess, just all of it.
Well, I see mums on the daily, who ring me up and say, hey, I love your images, fantastic, I want to book a photo shoot for just the kids. Because, and I'm like, hey, what about you? I'd love to capture that relationship between you and baby, and you and your kids, and that sort of thing. And they're like, oh, I've got to lose 10 pounds, blah, 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 blah. And oh, I don't like photos of me. But that is creating, and not accepting ourselves and the imperfection is creating a lack of sort of connection through. You talk about legacy. In this age where photos are going straight onto hard drives, and if, like, I have one photo of my grandmother because she didn't like to be in photos. And us as women, you can talk empowerment and all that sort of stuff, but you want to, like, for me, it's connection with our future generations that is so powerful to turn up to your family's legacy and be there. So your great grandkids, your great grandkid who looks exactly like you, who has your personality, who all the family says, oh, you look like, you know, my great grandma, you sound like her, and all this sort of stuff. And when she goes through hard times, can reflect on your life and see visually you. And if you don't get in that photo because you've got an extra 10 pounds and you're not perfection, you can't be there in that way for your future generations. So embracing the imperfections, and you, like, let's face it, this is the skinniest I'm going to be for the rest of my life right now.
It might be, and it may not be. Like, we don't know, actually.
And
who
it's
cares?
Like, embrace it. Exactly. Like I love, like, you've got to embrace who you are now, not for yourself, but for future generations, so you can be there even when you're not physically here anymore.
Oh my gosh, do you know, I am welling up. I am so moved.
Oh, bless.
Seriously, I am so moved by what you're saying, because I hadn't been thinking about it like that. You know, when I connected with you and when I saw that beautiful video that you had posted, everybody's going to be going and having a look. This beautiful video of you with this gorgeous tiny little baby, relaxing and releasing that tension, and just, you know, showing some of your gorgeous skills around baby massage and all of that you bring to the table in your work. I had no idea why I reached out to you. All I knew is I had an impetus. I had a nudge from spirit, from universe, whatever. I had a nudge to reach out to you. You stood out to me, and I followed that nudge. I followed that calling.
Wonderful.
And now we're here having this conversation, and I hadn't thought of photographs and legacy in that way. And I have this photograph that I love. It's a passport photo that I blew up many years ago that I just came across again, and my daughter absolutely loves it. So I'm just going to hold it up to the camera there. So I'm the little one here, and that's my sister, and that's my mum.
Oh, look.
And that's probably one of the closest up photos I have of the three of us. And
isn't that gorgeous?
And my daughter was looking at that photo going, it looks like me. That little girl, that is just like, that's me. I look just like that. And it is that, being able to see ourselves in our ancestors, being able to connect in that way. And one of the things I feel a bit sad about is that my parents weren't so great at taking photos. So there aren't that many photos of me as a child, right? And
it was a very expensive thing to do. It's not like they had cell phones like we do these days. You know, it was, you know, a roll of film. Yes. And, you know, it was a whole ordeal to go and get them developed and everything else like that. So those photos are so precious.
They are so precious. And being able to frame that photo, like my parents weren't so good at framing. So there are some photos with like no heads in, or, you know, just a Lego body and lots of background and half the person chopped off and that kind of thing, you know, because, you know, there's a whole skill behind photography as well, you know.
Well, it's like there's, I can't remember exactly what university did this study, but it was a very powerful study, because I love my research. I love getting deep and diving into education and everything like that, and building on what I know. And I read a massive study that a university did. I can't quite recall where it was from exactly, around the idea of confidence. And what are some of the factors that make children confident in who they are and in their environments. And one of the aspects of that study was studying the differences in how children in families who displayed a family photo with them in it, or a photo of them on their walls, how that help that child build confidence. Because you think about it, if you have a beautiful family of your children up on the lounge wall above the sofa, and one of your girlfriends comes into the house, and while the kids are standing there go, oh my God, look at that beautiful picture, oh my God, that's so gorgeous, your kids are hearing, I'm so gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, and then if you've got family members that come from their lineage around up on the wall and framed and that sort of stuff. Yes, we like a lot of people talk about how we want to see diversity and everything in our TV and our movies and all that sort of stuff. The biggest thing that creates confidence in children, yes, we see it externally outside the home, but is inside the home going, I come from that and I'm great because they were great. And the more importance you place on that image, the more important the child feels because they have that connection to something they deem important.
Yeah.
You know, and they see themselves in it.
Yeah.
And so families who have nothing but abstract art around the house, you know, don't give their children to have that opportunity with people who come into the home with feeling like they come connection to their lineage, that sort of thing. And it's so important because the tradition of having the family photo has sort of died out in the last sort of 20 years. You know, you're like, our parents would drag us off to a studio somewhere and make us say cheese, you know. And we're like, oh my God. And mum, the prized possession of every mum of our generation was to have the family photo and the kids' photos around on the family wall, that sort of thing. That tradition has died. And it's really like the study showed about the negative, subtle, but negative effects that has with connection to family, to self-confidence, to importance in the family. So the children know their importance in the family. Because if you're important enough to have a photo on the wall, then, you know, it's like, wow, I have a place.
Yes.
You know,
that is massive. What you just said there is huge. I have a place. Like I have a place. I have a sense of belonging. I am part of a tribe. I am part,
yes, absolutely.
I'm part of a tribe of people that came before me and people that will come after me. It's like that place in your lineage.
Yes.
Wow.
And you're building on that. Your existence is important in the key chain of your family. And if you bow out of it because you're carrying 10 pounds more than you'd like to, you're the link in the chain. You know, and so for me, photography and imagery around our family is and that sort of thing is so important. And like with that little video of that beautiful little boy, I love him so much, and he lives just down the road. It's fantastic. But it's like, if I can facilitate a comfortable, relaxed, supportive, educational environment for my families that they can feel relaxed and relieved, so they can have that moment, so they can have that connection. I'm doing what I need to do to get it, to make it happen. And, you know, a little bit of baby massage it goes a long way, I tell you.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll put the link under the podcast for that so people can have a look at it and go check that out for sure. So yeah, tell me, you've talked about your legacy, but I didn't actually ask you the question which I ask everybody, which is, so what do you feel your legacy is? Like, if you had to say it in a sentence, what would you say?
Wow. Yes.
It's a big question.
My legacy is all, like, I feel like my biggest goal in life is to create connection. You know, and be the facilitating force in that. You know, whether that's like creating new connections, new experiences for my child, you know, for my family, for my community, you know, and like I want to, when future generations look back at my life, to say, wow, the branches of what grandma or mum or whatever of Diana are still growing.
Yeah.
you know, and for me, like I look at photos that I take of children, and I know that in 30 years time, let's say, that child will be holding that photo up against a photo of their child and saying, wow, you look just like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's so subtle, and nobody's going to say, oh, Diana took that photo, but that through that, my legacy is growing branches.
Yeah.
So creating connection for me is a big part of what I want to leave as a legacy.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Do you know, I was a couple of years ago, I was at a spring fair at our school, and there was a lady, heavily pregnant lady. And I was like, oh, wow, I just love baby bumps. I'm just like,
same.
The most magical time and the most magical thing that our bodies do. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I always want to touch them. Obviously, I always ask permission, and I'm very respectful. But if anybody lets me hug their bump, I will absolutely. And this beautiful mom, I said to her, have you got a photo? Have you taken any photos? And she said, no, I haven't taken any. I was like, what? Yeah. You have to have a photo. Like, you can't not have a photo of this. It feels like it's going on forever. It feels, you know, it gets uncomfortable and all the rest of it. And you can't imagine your body ever being different when you're in that, when you're in the moment of being heavily pregnant. And then it's gone, and, you know, not having that captured in a photo. If anybody's listening and you're pregnant and you haven't had a photo taken of your incredible bump, go have one done. Better still, have a professional one done, because this is a thing I didn't do. I thought about having a professional photo shoot done while I was pregnant, and I didn't do it for any of my pregnancies. And that is something I kind of regret. You know, I wish I had done that. I wish I'd done that. You know, I wish I'd paid the money and gone and yeah.
Can I tell you,
had that done, you know? But I do have photos. Yeah,
we take photos on our phones and all that sort of stuff. But you're right. It's
so
like
different.
It's so different. And can I tell you, I heard that exact sentiment from so many mums.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, I think it was about a year or two ago, a big celebrity had posted up about she'd just given birth, and she had a moment of panic because she realized that her bump is going to be disappearing, and she never caught it. And she got her husband in the maternity ward to take some photos of him hugging an empty bump as such, you know, and it's like, I hear it from so many women having that exact same regret.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is why whenever, like for me, I'm like, right, I've got to do something about this, because very few of us want that whole, you know, half naked photo, massive size on our wall of us pregnant. No, you know, it's not many of us want to do that. All power to the girls who can.
I would have absolutely done that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there we go.
I may have kept it more private, maybe not had it in the lounge. But actually, but having that, you know, because honestly, my body as well, when I'm pregnant, is incredible. And like, that's happened 3 times in my life. So from the back, you don't particularly know I'm pregnant. I turn around and you're like, oh my gosh, what is that? It just looks like I'm one of those people that I've always thought, how not being able to fathom how you can be pregnant and not know, or how you can be pregnant and not notice, because honestly it looks like somebody has placed like a basketball and a half on the front of my body. It's like
well, we're like, after hearing this from so many of my mums, I was like, you know what, I could charge for maternity sessions. But I just know for so many women, it's just going to be that whole spending something on yourself is just a little bit too much of a leap. But spending money on your kids, hand over fist sort of thing. So for me, for every single one of my clients who book a newborn session with me, they get a free maternity session. and all their images are free as well.
Amazing. Wow.
Because
that's amazing.
Because I'm like, no, one woman to the next, I want you to have this, because I know right now, when you're in the moment, it's not so much right now, but in 20 years time, when you're looking back at your body going, wow, my body earned its keep.
Yeah.
You know, I did that, and how amazing I looked doing that, you know.
And it is that we don't appreciate what we have and where we are at the time. When I was 30, I had a portrait painted for my 30th birthday. I commissioned a friend to do a nude portrait of me.
Amazing.
And at the time, I remember thinking, wow, when I was 20, oh my gosh, my body was amazing. My boobs were up here. Oh my gosh, everything was so tight and pert and And so I thought, I'll have this portrait done. And because I know when I'm 40, I'll be going, when I was 30, oh my gosh, my body was, you know,
exactly.
It's so I wanted to do that to honor where I was at the time. And,
absolutely.
And to kind of have that done. And as part of that, I did a photo shoot. I don't think I kept the photos for that. She actually did it off the photos, but yeah, it's kind of that appreciation and that honoring and that acceptance of where we are.
Oh,
you
God,
know, and who we are.
Every time you look at that portrait, how do you feel about yourself?
I feel proud, actually. I feel proud. I feel it reminds me. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. And it reminds me that I do things that are uncomfortable. I do daring things, like I always have through my life, and I will continue to do that. I step out of, I suppose, my comfort zone and the norms and break those barriers and get past my blocks and just do the thing. And it reminds me of who I am. Like, it's like an anchor point to remind me of who I am. It calls me home to myself.
Oh, and if you have that in a place in your house where you pass that every day.
I'm not sure I can put it in the hallway.
No, but you know, if it's in your bedroom or something like that, and you pass it and you see it every day, you have that those exact thoughts subconsciously, and it gives you that little bit more, because you are subconsciously, even just for a millisecond, reminding yourself of all those things.
Do you know what? It's not on the wall. I'm going to get it up on the wall, because it isn't
on the wall.
I'm going to get it up there. That is it. It's like, going up.
But it's like, it's just paint on a canvas sort of thing. But it has so much more meaning, so much more subconscious things than just paint on a canvas. Like, you know, my photos aren't just ink on a page. They are connection, they're family connections, they're new beginnings, they're representation of the beginning of an extremely exciting journey of life. You know, and every single one of the 200 children I see each year, which, you know, I don't know what the future holds for them, and that is so exciting. You know, and so it's so much more than just the physical thing that it is.
That amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for I'm absolutely going to put that picture on the wall. And do you know what gets in the way? And I suspect this gets in the way for everybody, right? Is that if somebody comes into my bedroom, they're going to think I'm vain, or they're going to think I'm, you know, full of myself, or, you know, what will other people think? All that, like, who goes in my bedroom? Like, nobody's going in my bedroom. Apart from the people I want in my bedroom.
You should feel vain and excited about yourself. Isn't your bedroom one of them?
Yes, absolutely. So for anybody who has those thoughts that come up, you know, that stops them getting their photograph taken, that stops them doing that thing, to remember that this conversation about legacy, this conversation about these images bringing us but home to ourselves, home to our tribe, home to our lineage, you know, honoring ourselves, honoring our family. Wow, you know.
And those thoughts that you have, which be very conscious and aware and in the moment, when you're thinking about having the portrait, or in your case, putting the portrait up on the wall, be very aware and conscious of those thoughts and feelings you have that stop you from doing that, because those are the thoughts that you need to, that impact your life on so much more of a greater level.
Yeah, those are the ones for transmuting, right?
Oh
those
my God, you want a window into how to like change your life, there they are, it's written out in front of you, done, you know. And it's like that acceptance of ourselves and what issues we're facing is reflected back to us in photos. And so if there is any sort of things that you need to deal with, they'll come up when you go to either book a photo shoot, or the thoughts of having a photo shoot, or putting that picture up on the wall. You know, all of those things that are holding you back come out when you're doing that.
Absolutely. So anybody listening, right, when those thoughts come up, write them down, like write down every single thing down, write them down, and then
be in that moment,
write it down, be in that moment, connect with the truth of who you are. Like, look at those things, write those down on one piece of paper, on another piece of paper, write down actually the truth, right, of who you are, of who you want to be, of what that's going to make available to you, coming back home to yourself, and then burn that first piece of paper, burn all that rubbish, transmute that energy, let it up, let it go. It's all energy, it's compost for the world, let it go. And then just keep that list of that's bringing you home, that's reminding you of who you are, that's reminding you of what that represents in your life, in your family.
And you know, imagery is so important around getting to your goals and that sort of thing, you know, that whole like, I am very much a non-tutti frutti person, I say. I don't like all the but it's so powerful. The impact that I've seen, things like a vision board, things like generational photos, you know, to help anchor a person, and those visual representations of where you've come from, where you are now, where you want to go, you know. And it's like paying mindfulness to each one of those steps, you know, and understanding what is holding you back from, like, what in the here and now, when you're thinking of having a photo of yourself done, sort of thing, what is holding you back from doing that, that's stopping you from getting to where you want to go, and putting some visual representation to those is so powerful on a subconscious level. So do what you just said, get it all out of you, and walk towards your goals. Absolutely love it.
Yes, and have those images, like you were saying, those images. And because also what I love about, you know, when you engage with doing a vision board, there'll be images, you know, if you've got a load of images there, you've got magazines or whatever, and you're going through images, the ones that bounce out at you are those ones that you may not know what that represents in that moment, but it will become clear. Like, I was in a session yesterday with a lady who was sharing, she put 2 ducks on her vision board. She was like, I have no idea what these 2 ducks represent. Right? She put these 2 ducks on there. Anyway, turns out that represents having new love in her life, and her dream partner is what came into her life from putting these 2 ducks on the vision board. And it's just like, this is the thing as well, is just letting go the conscious bit so that the subconscious can work, so it can do its magic through us, so that and images can be an access to that, to connect.
Such an easy access to your subconscious. It's almost like imagery opens the gate to your subconscious, and it can flood out so fast that people almost miss that information that comes flooding out about themselves, and yeah, I love it. I could talk for years about this stuff.
we could be talking all day, couldn't we? Absolutely. Oh, and it's so nice to see the images in the background. Yay, look at that, it's so lovely.
Wait.
Show us. So if you're on YouTube, you get to see them. Oh, look at those little babies. Oh, so beautiful. That's just gorgeous.
My squishy babies.
Oh, amazing. Do you know, having this conversation, you've so inspired me. I just got a load of picture frames recently to put some of my girls' artwork on the walls, so they've got their artwork. So we've just done some framing of those. So they're to go up on the wall. I'm going to put that nude portrait in my bedroom.
Do it.
And I've just thought of another one. So my first baby was stillborn, and that was a really, thank you, that was a really difficult time in my life, and people have heard me talk about that before. And one of the things I did 4 weeks after he was born was I went and had a photo shoot done, like a professional photo shoot done. And so I've got photos of me, and I've got photos of me and my sister, actually. So I'm going to print one of those gorgeous prints off and put that, because my sister is so amazing. She's such, we've got a beautiful relationship, and I just feel like I want to have her up on my wall as well.
Yes.
So
and get a copy. Do me a favor, because your daughter resonates with that photo that you showed us.
Yeah.
Get a copy and put it in her bedroom as well.
Yeah. I'll do that. Do you know, we probably need to finish up. There was one other thing I wanted to share, because I know a lot of parents listen to my podcast, and you're reminding me so much of like times when I've had photos taken or used photos. So when my eldest was transitioning to, we co-slept, and she was transitioning from co-sleeping to her own bed in her own room, and I used some of the skills that I share through my parenting stuff to support her with that journey. And one of the things we talked about what she was afraid of, and we went through and what might help her. And the thing that she came up with was having pictures of her family around her, so that she felt safe in her room. So we created this picture, and she chose the pictures, and we printed them off, and she chose which one she wanted, and we printed them off, and we framed them, and we put them over her bed. And that really helped her, because it helped her feel safe. It helped her feel like her family were there, that she was watched over. So anybody who's listening, that's something you can try if you're in that situation.
We did the exact same thing with my daughter, and that was the study that I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast about confidence and stuff. That was one of the things that came out of that study, and it's like your brain has the same emotional reaction and or connection with seeing the person in person as well as seeing them in the photo.
Wow.
So for children, it's an extremely powerful thing, and it helps them, like you say, feel secure and that sort of thing. I've recommended doing that to a lot of my clients, whose toddlers are struggling when they go off to nursery, or daddy's going off to work, that sort of thing, and or transitioning into their own bedroom if they're toddlers and able to communicate and stuff like that. But even as babies, this sounds funny, but even as like a 6, 9, 10-month-old sort of thing, those portraits around them are going to help them have that same effect. So it's never too early to start. But that technique is an absolute game changer, and I couldn't recommend it enough.
Brilliant. Well, I'm glad, this is just something we came up with. I didn't know obviously about
there's a lot of research to support it. There's a lot of research to support it.
So amazing. So I hope that has helped somebody who's thinking, what can I do? This is one of the things you can do. And coming back to what we talked about earlier in this podcast as well that Diana mentioned, if you are worried that you've got £10 too much or right, and you don't want your picture taken, this is why, you could like have your picture taken so your child can feel safe in their own room, so that they've got you with them, so that they can take you with them. They can take you to university, they can take you wherever, they can have you there. If that's not a reason to deal with that stuff that comes up that is stopping you, then I don't know what is. And you know what, like Diana was saying, the things that show up, like she was saying, when the negative thoughts that come up when you're thinking about taking that photo or putting it up or whatever, those are the same things that stop you in other areas of your life. In every area of your life, that will show up. It will show up in your personal life, it'll show up in your business life, it will show up everywhere, right? So anytime we have like one of these limiting beliefs or one of these this old programming that is running, it doesn't just run when you're thinking about putting that picture up, it runs in every single area of your life. So when we transmute that, we get freedom in all those areas as well. So it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love this conversation. Oh my gosh. Can I just say, wow, what an amazing way to start the day.
I know, it's great.
So we
I'm
do
so
need
glad
to
we had a coffee together, darling. Thank you.
It's so nice. And I've not drunk much of my tea, but I do have it here, and I've nearly done. Yeah. So lovely to have this chat, and we will finish up now. Now, if you want to get hold of Diana, you want to, use her services. I'm sure she has places where you can get tips from her as well. Check below the podcast. All her links will be there for you to have a look at that gorgeous video as well. Check her out. If you're local, if you're in Edinburgh, you're in Scotland, use her services. I mean, amazing that you get to have your, a picture of your bump and a portrait of your tiny wee baby as well. I mean, just gorgeous.
And my website for everybody who's listening is, there's a whole section called Bub Hub. And I'm not just a photographer. I'm a qualified sleep coach, breastfeeding and bottle feeding support person, as well as a development specialist. So there is a whole section there for brand new parents who want to have another port of call, another area to find out. So there's things on there like, how do you pick the perfect formula for your unborn child? What do you really need in the nursery? So please, even if you're not one of my clients, please go and visit the website to get that extra little bit of support, a different viewpoint. As parents, we can never have too much information. The more we have in our repertoire, the more we can adapt and serve our children better. So thank you so much. This has been wonderful talking to you. And I hope to see everybody in the future.
Yay! Love the name Bub Hub, by the way. It's great.
I know, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. Fab. Right. I'm going to end us here.